Hey, welcome to Coach's Corner, everybody. Local sports report every Thursday. I'm your host, Coach Tripp, along with my buddy, Coach Mark Hobley. Coach Hobbs.
Peace.
And we got a special guest, Craig Broughton.
All right.
My goodness, husband, father, teacher, author, longtime referee. I don't know where to begin, Craig. Let's start at the beginning so everybody can get to know you. Talk about growing up, your mom and dad, and any siblings you had.
Okay, grew up in Pensacola, Florida. My dad was from Monroeville, Alabama. My mother from Beatrice, Alabama. My brother, well, my sister's the oldest, then my brother, then I came the last, the youngest, three of us.
The youngest, the fighter.
Yeah.
Best athlete, probably. Maybe the best athlete. Did you?
Absolutely. That is true.
Right, so talk about your high school and talk about your love of sports. We'll start with sports first before we get into your books and reading, your love of teaching and reading. So let's talk about, what sports did you play in high school?
In high school, I played football. Played football. I played running back, wide receiver, and cornerback. But mostly at cornerback.
Where did you graduate from? I'm sorry.
Woodham High School.
Okay.
There you go. Good. Were you guys good in high school, or did you guys struggle?
Oh, well, we were great. Now I stopped playing my 10th grade year, but my colleagues they went on to win a state championship in '85. Then they also won a state championship in 1983 under leadership of Coach Don Sharp. Great coach.
Okay. Wow, 2 state titles under Coach Sharp. Yeah. Well, awesome. All right. So when you get out of high school, where did you decide to go to school, and what were you interested in? What were your passions and hobbies?
I decided to go to school at Pensacola. It was Pensacola Junior College at the time. And I went there, enjoyed my time there, got involved in community activities. And that's pretty much it. I will love to tell this story that in my senior year, my dad got laid off from his job. And he was able to send my sister and my brother to school off in Tampa. And so when it was my turn, the funds weren't there, but it was the best blessing in disguise because it made me work extremely hard so I could afford to get in college. And I kind of paid my own self through school. And I'll tell students I started at the very bottom. My grades weren't that good in high school, so I had to take college prep courses before I was allowed to take college credit courses. And I continued and stayed the path. I worked 2 jobs. I would work at, it's called Publix now, but back in the day it was called Albertsons. And I would get out of school and I work from go to Albertsons and work from like maybe 1 to 7 or 1 to 9. Come home, get a little bit of rest, and then I work at the post office as a casual. And I work from like 11 to 7 in the morning, sleep, find time to study. And then that's what I used, those funds to pay my way through school till I was able to afford financial aid and so forth. And that was that.
Wow. What a great story, man. Great story. Perseverance. Holy mackerel. Overcoming the odds, help out. Man, you had no time off. So not much social life. You're focused. Where did you get your focus? Was your sister, your older brother? They finished school. Who gave you that inner drive? Who was your champion?
My dad, all the way. My dad, my grandfather was my grandfather in Monroeville was a blacksmith. He was a farmer and a sugarcane guy, and he was a businessman. And so my dad, he definitely grew up hardworking, ex-Marine. And he made sure we worked, and I would just see him work on our cars, or we'll be out in the yard or be in the backyard, working our garden. And one thing he showed me, I never forget that moment. He was working on a car, and we were out there all night. And I was like, "Dad, it's getting late. Don't you shouldn't we just give up? Won't you ought to give up?" And he was like, "No, we never give up. I never give up." And then next thing you know, he pulled that wrench and you heard that crack. And next thing you know, that nut came off there and said, "See, this is what I'm talking about. You never quit." And that's where I got that from that one incident.
Yeah, that's awesome. My dad was my hero. So was your dad.
Yes.
We were real close. We were close with our dads. Wow, that's awesome. Okay, so you go to school and you become a teacher. Talk about your teaching experience. What was what's the characteristic of a great teacher? Do you show, maybe you have some other teachers that showed you an example or that you respected when you're in the teacher's room, so maybe mention one or two of those people that helped you in your teaching career.
Wow, there are several. Wow. I'll talk about my principal, my first principal, Mrs. Hayter. Miss Hayter, she just showed great leadership and compassion for the teaching staff, its custodians, the lunchroom people, students, and all. And my most memorable moment with her is that, like, our school was in the projects of Phoenix City, Alabama. And she said to us at a meeting, she says, we need to get out there and let the community know that we care. So she says, on such and such date, we're just going to go walk through the community and we're just going to wave and just let them know that we're here for them and we're here for their kids. And that made a tremendous impact on our students and us being able to communicate with parents of how we need some help with their child instead of us being the enemy. They saw us as a friend, somebody that was, with them. And that was really important.
Mm-hmm. The trend over the decades, every generation from coaches that I talked to in the past, they think that every generation getting softer. And there's a generational shift in respect, I think, for teachers. Years ago, when one of my brothers or myself would mess up in school, my mother and father would always, 100% of the time, take the side of the teacher.
That's correct.
And now,
what do you mean?
And now they're now like you see them taking the sides of the students or sometimes over the teachers. Have you seen that a little bit? Not so much in the kids' attitudes and changing, but the parents changing.
Yes, I have seen that tremendously. I tell you, I would never forget. I was teaching 6th grade in Robertsdale, and I caught a young man cursing in lunch. And I was like, I got on to him and I said, well, I'm going to call your mother. I worked at Pensacola State College as an adjunct instructor, training people how to be teachers.
Yeah, and that's where I met. That's where we met.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And so one of those moments before class, I said, let me call this parent. And I called the parent. Hi, Miss So-and-so. This is Mr. Broughton, your son's teacher, blah, blah, blah. And this evening in lunch, he was caught cursing. I just want to let you know that, this was his, his behavior. Mm-hmm. And she said, my son didn't do that. He told me you were going to call. And my mouth just flew wide open. Because as when we grew up, if a teacher called, you had that backing. Right. And so that was the first time I actually saw that. And I was like, man, times have changed.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
All right. So let's get in. Let's talk about, before we get into refereeing, let's talk about your books.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Your children's books. Look at Me, I'm a Superhero. Bryce and 10 Big Puddles in Stacy's Mirror. You got 3 of them out?
Yes, sir. That's correct, Coach.
All right. Talk about each one. The first one was Look at Me, I'm a Superhero, right?
The first one was this one, Bryce and 10 Big Puddles.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Bryce and 10 Big Puddles. Okay. Tell us how you got that first one rolling.
Well, that got started because my daughter, Jasmine, and my son, Bryce, I used to read them this Sesame Street Count to 10 book. And they made me read that book 1,000 times a night, where I started knowing the book inside out by heart. And I love the book because I'm a big Sesame Street fan. And so I always said one day I would write a book, and I just didn't have the idea. Right. So one evening, my son and I, we're walking. He's about 5 or whatever, 4, and we're walking up to University Mall, and it had rain, and there's these puddles in the parking lot. And so I hold his hand, and he's like, boom, step in that puddle. It's like, Bryce, don't step in the puddle. Take 2 more steps. Boom, he stepped in another puddle. And he's having a great time.
Yeah.
And I said, that's it. That's a children's book. Wow. Bryce with 10 Big Puddles, and then we'll have them count to 10, and there you have it.
So you come out with the first one. Did you have the same publisher for your second one, Look at Me, I'm a Superhero?
I self-published all my books. I self-help. I think I got for the Look at Me as a Superhero. I got another publisher. I'm not gonna mention their name because I got to redo some work with them because they end up kind of scamming me. So that was a bad deal. But the book got produced. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Right. Oh, good. Well, how'd you come up with that one, and also Stacy's Mirror, your wife Stacy?
Okay. Look at Me, I'm a Superhero.
Okay.
This book came out. I was in Atlanta. My sister used to live in Atlanta, her and my brother-in-law. And so she had all her grandkids and my great nieces and nephew. And they love playing with me, and I love playing with them. So we're on the carpet playing, and they're like, "Look at me, Craig, Uncle Craig. I'm shooting you with my ice beam. Look at me, Uncle Craig. I'm super strong. I can pick you up." And then I said, "Wait a minute. That's the book. Look at me. I'm a superhero." And that's how that came about.
Oh my gosh! All right, then Stacy's Mirror. How'd you come up with that? And what's that book about?
Stacy's Mirror. My wife's name is Stacy. My beautiful wife, Stacy. And so we were at the printers, Elite Printing, and we were getting some more copies for Look at Me, I'm a Superhero. And on the drive home, I'm at a stoplight, and I noticed she's taking selfies. And I said, "That's it." I said, "Little girls love taking pictures of themselves." I said, "They can see a better image of themselves and build their self-esteem." Stacy's Mirror. And then I say, "Babe," I said, because the light turned green, I said, "You got to write this down." I said, "I know I'm sound crazy, but the book is flowing through my mind, and I could just see it." And so I started off by, giving the girls affirmations. I'm smart, I'm beautiful, I'm talented and wise. Stacy looks in the mirror and she can imagine seeing herself even more clearer. Stacy is one who puts herself first. Stacy sees herself as a registered nurse. And my wife, by the way, is a registered nurse. And so I go through all the different careers that I could come up with. And at one point, the book was getting extremely too long, so I had to condense it. And so the one great thing I love at the end of the book is that she says something that she sees herself as a beautiful queen, and she's sitting. I'll show you. And she's sitting on this nice throne.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And
Queen Bee.
And I give a lot of credit, some credit to my illustrator. His name is Marcus Stallworth. And you want to hear something funny. So I did not know his dad and my dad grew up together and were friends. And so one day I'm in the neighborhood and his dad is walking and he says, "Hey, how's your dad doing?" This and that. I say, "He's doing great." He says, "Man, your dad was a great football player." I said, "Excuse me?" He said, "Yeah, man, your dad was a running back in high school, man. He could run that ball." I said, "No, you're not talking about the same dad." Because my dad was real quiet. And he said, "Yeah."
Oh,
man,
really?
yeah.
Real
So
humble
that's
guy.
where my athleticism fell in. But my son, Bryce, he took it all.
Wow. How's got a question for you?
Mr. Broughton,
Yes.
I was looking at your 3 books here. That's amazing. Kobe Bryant did the same thing. He won, was it Oscar? He won awards for writing children's book.
Yes,
and
he did.
he also had was an Oscar for Mr. Basketball.
That's correct.
He had a film and books like that. Don't underestimate your ability with writing these books here. Kobe did it by age 40. Kobe did it by age 41, and you are on to something huge. Don't underestimate that, please.
Yeah, we're proud of you, man.
Yeah.
We're proud of you.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
So now we're going to talk about refereeing because it's a part of your life. You referee so many different sports. All right, man. First one, what's your favorite sport to referee?
Man, it's got to be football. I love them all, but being a football, I just love football. I love the game. I love the contact. I love the teamwork. It's just a great game. You have to be in it from the beginning to the end, and I just love that game. Yes.
All right, I got a couple of questions for you. 2 or 3 characteristics that make up a really competent, good referee.
First, for me, being professional. You play the part, dress the part. Second, be educated. Know the rules inside out, and then again, be professional when you deal with the coaches and the players as well, and maintain your dignity, and then it all works out. And I think that's the most important. Be professional. Know what you're doing. Make the right call. And if you do make the wrong call, have the courage about yourself, or dignity, pride.
Yeah, the courage.
Hey, I missed that one, Coach. I'm going to look for it next time.
Yeah, and the courage to stand up and say that you were wrong.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Because like I tell coaches, it's an angles game, and if you have 3 big football players in front of me and the guy's holding, I can't see it. You may see it from your position, but my view is blocked. So, and that's what I love about refereeing football. Is definitely a team game. You got a team of referees. We're all working together to make the right call at the right time. So, yes.
Obviously, you got a question.
Who's the most difficult coach around in football to referee that game? Who's going to run out there running that?
Yeah, give me retired, the most difficult retired coach.
Yeah, the retired ones. Yeah.
I don't remember. I'm not going to call it.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Hey, Craig, what's the best gesture that you've ever seen on a court or a field, or the best gesture that you've ever seen it could be from a coach or a player? Sportsmanship gesture.
One of the great ones I've seen is, and I see a lot when I'm doing calling basketball on base, and across the board, you'll see kids and sometimes coaches as well says, "Hey, umpire Blue, you called a great game." And that's the highest compliment you can get from a player and a coach that says, and especially even the ones who had lost. That what really strikes me. The coach that loses and says, you called a fair game, and that's all we wanted, and that blows my mind. And that's really good.
Yeah, that's the feeling. That's why you do it.
Absolutely.
All right, what sport have you been watching March Madness?
I have been so busy.
Have you? What sport? How many sports do you referee now? 4?
Right. I was at basketball, baseball, football, softball, flag football. Sometimes volleyball.
Wow. 6. Oh my gosh. Oh man, what is the answer? How come we're having a hard time getting officials? I know there's probably a bunch of societal reasons, right? Which yes. I believe in. But where are we gonna? What's the solution? Has anybody figured it out yet? How we're gonna get more good young officials in the business?
Well, that's part of my crusade. As I sub as a teacher at these high school, I try to find good young men and sometimes young ladies that's interested in the sport, and I check out their character, because to be a ref, you have to have a thick skin, and you just block out everything and focus on the game. And I tell the coaches and the players, look, my number one job is to keep you safe. I want you to have a great game, but if I don't protect you, somebody can get hurt, and that's the last thing I want to see happen. And so you just try to find people who have great confidence and who just can't be just shook because somebody says words, because they're fans and they're going to be all into the game.
They're too passionate.
There you go. Yes, sir. That's the word I was looking for. Passionate about the game. Yes.
Right. Absolutely. Well, all right, good, man. High school baseball. We're gonna, if you want to stay with us and talk a little baseball, softball, you've got some perspective on it. Maybe high school baseball. Pace is 13-3, ranked number 2 in the state in Class 6A. Let's see. Gulf Breeze is 13-4, ranked number 1 in Class 5A. Niceville's number 2. Number 3 is Lincoln. So you got all top 3 in that class in this region.
Now Lincoln should have that kid, Corey.
Pitcher.
He's a third baseman, shortstop.
Oh, okay.
Fuller. Corey Fuller's son.
Ooh.
He should be like the top sophomore or junior in the country. He was the top freshman in the country.
Yeah, last year.
Yeah, like the top freshman. So, if you get a chance to see Lincoln around here, if they're in town, make sure you stick your head in there and take a look at those guys.
Absolutely.
Right. They're in Class 5A too. West Florida's 16-3. It sits at number 7 in Class 3A. Catholic's 10-8. Scandia's 15-5. So those are the teams that are playing well. Do you do high school baseball or softball?
Just totally right. Recreational league, the little kids.
Totally rec league.
Oh, totally rec league.
Yeah, totally rec league. No high school.
Oh,
okay. I can tell you my last high school game. It was a JV game, and I never forget.
That's why it was your last.
And it was my last. So
okay.
It was about to be a running clock, and we had a rookie referee, and he made a bad call, and he called a pass interference. It was clearly not a pass interference,
right?
And it allowed the team to get up close to the 5-yard line, and then they scored. Then the game lasted about 15 more minutes, and because injuries happened, this and that, and I was like, never again. You're not gonna have me out all night on some humbug. I said, I'll stick to the rec league. The kids are done by 5 o'clock, and
they have a time limit. In high school, there's no time limit.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, no time limit. Yep. The time limit is how long does it take you to get them out? That's how long. That's the time limit. See, that's what people don't understand. That in football, the clock will run out. Basketball, the clock will run out. Baseball, the calendar does not run out. Okay, you'll be there forever.
That's right. You sure will.
Yep,
that is so correct.
Unfortunately, you don't get paid. Unfortunately, what I learned as an umpire is I get paid by the out. Okay. So if it's close, guess what? You're out. Yes, sir. If it's close, you're out. Okay.
You're out.
Wait a minute.
We already know that from jump street. If it's close, you're out.
That's correct.
Oh my gosh, that reminds me of the great Larry Broughton, the great referee Larry Broughton.
Yes.
Man, you guys both know Larry Broughton.
Oh,
but
yeah.
if the game was, out of hand, Larry was doing this over right here, baby. Get that thing rolling.
Hey, if it was a Friday night, Larry was trying to get to Tallahassee on Saturday.
Yeah.
Yes, he is.
Larry,
see the snake strike.
He's a rattler too. Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Oh, is he? Oh, is he really?
Larry,
I love Larry Broughton.
Oh, yeah. FAMU fan.
Hey, I refereed 2 years. Yeah, I only lasted 2 years. That's how bad I was. I was not cut out. After I told one of them, where I'm gonna put this flag, I thought that was it. I was done refereeing after that. I mean, I wasn't any better as a coach. I tried to follow Coach Ryan's great example of having grace, but I was bad at it. I even got a flag for looking at a referee one time in a high school football game. Yeah. Oh, yeah. My head coach come running down the sideline. He said, blue. Coach Tripp didn't even say a word. And he looked at us and said, but he was staring at me. Oh, I lost it. I lost it after that. And then I said, why are you so sensitive? Because you're blind in one eye, can't see out of the other? Out come another flag.
Yep, that's right.
Hey, you know what I said? I said, well, at least I deserve that one.
I deserve that one. Yeah. Better make sure you get your money's worth. Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's
right. You better get your money's worth. Yeah.
Hey, I got a couple of my teammates that are white hats in the SEC, and Brent Sewell, one of my teammates at Alabama, was the umpire in the national championship game last year. So
awesome.
They kept in it and they stayed in it, man. They were a little bit better. They're a little bit better. They were controlling their temper a little bit better than I would. Hey, man, thanks for being on, Greg. What a story, dude.
Hey, appreciate you guys as well.
Hey, keep writing and keep doing things for this community.
Yep.
Thank you so much. And Let's hope them Snakes have a good year this year.
Yeah, let's go.
I hope so.
Right.
Yeah, because those guys give me a hard time when we don't do well. And I want to say this real quick. Kobe Bryant is one of my favorite basketball players. Yes,
well, Mr. Broughton, I'm listening to Winning. It's by Tim Grover, and he was the trainer for Michael Jordan for 15 years. And Michael was the one that put him on Kobe. Kobe, after 10 years, his knees, and he talks about stuff like, well, Kobe didn't want to bend over. You know how Mike used to bend over and grab his shorts. Well, that's because he could breathe deeper. But when that guy told Kobe that, Kobe says, well, it makes me look weak. He says, winning makes nobody look weak. And so, you know what I'm saying? And,
so Kobe started doing that.
Yes, Kobe started doing that. So anytime you see guys grabbing the shorts, they're just breathing deeper. Because, you know, when we came up, they used to say, hold your hand over your head.
Yeah, they don't.
They sure did.
Yeah. Remember that?
You remember that?
Yeah. They made it worse.
They did.
Yes.
It made it worse. So that was like, that's how he got the Mike, and Mike got the Kobe, and Kobe got, went on. But
thanks for sharing. Thanks for watching my show too and sharing everything.
Yes,
all the time.
We appreciate you, guys. See you, Craig.
Yes, sir.
All right,
thank you,
guys.
All
right, coaches.
See you, guys. Oh man, he was awesome.
Good man.
Craig Broughton.
Wow,
what a guy, man.
Great guy for the community.
Yeah, he is. He's a good person to have. He was actually, when I wanted to go back and coaching and start substitute teaching, I went to PJC at the time, and he was the instructor, and it was great. It was great having him. Thanks for joining Hobbs and I for Local Sports Report. If you like the podcast, don't forget to like it, share it, subscribe on YouTube. Thanks for watching. Have a great sports night, everybody.
Who you got in the Final Four? I mean,
I got picked 3. I'm out of Final Four. I got 3 of the Final Four. I got Florida over Duke 74-71.
Wow. I'll take
I had that at the beginning of the tournament, so I got 3 out of 4.
I'm just guessing I'm going with Houston. I'll go with the upset, guys.
All right. See you, everybody.
All right.
Have a great sports tonight.
Arbitrium Consulting for all your fencing, landscaping, pressure washing, tree trimming needs. Call 850-483-0350 for your free estimates. Serving Pensacola, Gulf Breeze, Navarre, Fort Walton, Destin, Perdido, Gulf Shores, Foley, and the entire Gulf Coast. Arbitrium Consulting is owner-operated, fully licensed and insured. Call today, 850-483-0350, the official landscaper of Coach's Corner.
Hey, Bama fans, this is Will Moore, president of the Pensacola Bama Club. You can find us at PensacolaBamaClub.com. We are your official alumni chapter in the Pensacola and surrounding areas. Membership is available to all alumni and all Bama fans, so come see us at one of our many events throughout the year. Our Bama football watch parties are the next best thing to being in Bryant-Denny Stadium. We even serve authentic stadium hot dogs. Membership, event, and contact information will be found on our website at PensacolaBamaClub.com. Roll Tide.
For 30 years, you have seen the orange Beck signs all over the Gulf Coast listing a property for sale or lease. Beck Partners is your trusted advisor in commercial real estate, property management, commercial and personal insurance. Senior Vice President David Valletto has been with Beck Partners since 1989. Take advantage of his wealth of knowledge by calling him today at 982-7352, 982-7352. Extensive experience in all aspects of leasing, sales, management, and site selection will make sure your expectations are exceeded.
Did you know there's a place where you can get good neighbor service and surprisingly great rates on your home and auto insurance? Yep, and that place is, ta-da, State Farm. Here's the deal. State Farm agent Will Rentschler is your go-to agent in Pensacola, Florida for the service you deserve at the price that you want. So stop shopping around. State Farm agent Will Rentschler has you covered. Call 850-433-4678 for your surprisingly great rates today. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Legal disclaimer, individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to State Farm underwriting requirements.